Welcome to our entry for today. Of course, I did an analysis of this, but it disappeared, guys, because of I think it's out of burnout. So I'm going to repeat this entry, 26 March 2020. I'm going to read through, then I'll do the discussion. So I'll be focusing on the page as I read, then I'll come back to do the discussion, right? So thank you so much and welcome to English and Literature Lessons. Today I've been a bit lazy, or I was doing some other stuff that was really depressing me, not really allowing me to finish in time. So understand it. Yeah, so let's go through the reading. I'll turn the camera to face the book. I like when you see the pages. So welcome. Guys, we start from here. Dear Mama, when you died, you left with more than your body, and something inside me died as well. Growing up, one of the things I said I wanted to be when I grew up was a doctor, so that I could cure you. Now, I did not see the need to work hard in my studies or in anything else at all. I was angry. You had struggled immensely for us to receive the decent education. You sacrificed so much, including your own dignity, so that we could attend school. You just needed to wait for no more than 9 months, and then you would be able to use your favorite quote, "I have won the good fight, I have finished the race." Mother, you did not finish the race. I had been eager to do well, as I felt that this was the only reward I could give you in return for your efforts. I had to do well. I knew that passing well and securing a good job was critical to getting the family out of poverty. Tie and Sammy had not achieved much success after school. Chris had just barely returned to school. All this time I had felt that I needed to do my part and pass well enough to ensure we had a better future. And then you died. Yes, you had prepared us many times during the Christmas holiday. You told us that you did not see yourself living to see another Christmas, but we had gone through a million other scares before. And having seen you plow through many asthma attacks, I had been certain that you would wait until I passed the examinations. But then you died. Maundu monte ni mathiru riu tuharirie ohoro. Soso's words kept reverberating in my ears. Everything is over. Let us now start the preparations. It was probably the wrong way to communicate such news, especially to a 17-year-old. But Shosho was built differently. Having been active in the fight for the country's independence and having lost many people in her life, I guess death was not a stranger to her. I suppose she knew that she had to be strong for us despite the loss of her own firstborn daughter. You are dead, Mother, dead. The rest of the year was a blur for me. Even when I returned to school, I felt like an automation, simply going through the motions and doing what I was told. I cannot explain how I passed the rest of the examinations leading up to the national one. When we were filling out applications for university, I just ticked the papers the teacher placed in front of me. I was pretty sure I was not going to pursue any further schooling after high school. What for? The only silver lining was that I would no longer go to the empty house in Joro, but would instead stay with my brothers in Nairobi. This meant I would join the League of Cool Nairobi Kids in school, albeit for 2 terms only. Nairobi was a mess. It was just after El Nino floods that had ravaged the city. Probably not the best to be there. The room my brothers lived in got submerged in dirty water mixed with sewage. Thankfully, by the time I joined them, they had upgraded to one of the cement room floor. Still, one had to hop, skip, and jump to get into the house. On the last day of school, we lit a huge bonfire with all our school books. I thought I had done with education forever. Gando, where my brothers lived, bordered into Key West on one side and Lenana School on the other. Next to the road were the Commonwealth War graves, where we spent a lot of time on the well-manicured lawns, the only greenery in the area. There, was a severe shortage of water in Gando, but the war graves were always well watered. Sometimes the guards allowed us to fetch water from their taps. My life was relatively simple. I only needed to fetch water, and my brothers would cook when they returned from work. It was at this time that I discovered pool games. There was a pool table then in Key West. I was fascinated by these games that had players trying to get white balls to hit their balls and get them into tiny holes. Despite the game's many rules, I was quickly drawn in. If you were good enough, you would play endless games. Initially, I could not afford the 20 shillings cost to play, so I lingered around the pool den. And when players finished their game, I practiced with the leftover balls. In a few months, I became quite skilled at it. When another pool hall opened just a few meters from the house, I spent so much time there that there were days when I did not bet because there simply was not enough time. Then we started betting on games, unaware that I was trading on a dangerous ground. When my brothers left money for groceries, I would squeeze the budget and save something for the pool game. Once I used rent money to play and lost it all, then recovered it the next day. When we did not have money, we would lift the pool tables, make the balls fall out by passing the meter reader, earning us free games. Thiongo, the owner of the pool den, had an ingenious strategy to keep the place thriving. He would identify skilled players who could entice others into playing for revenge. Being one of the secret chosen ones meant playing free pool games. The few times I tried to make some money was so that I could sustain my pool game addiction. Once I saw an advert for a salesperson and viewed it as an opportunity to earn more so I could bet more. Earn 4,000 a week, shouted the advert. No experience necessary. I went to the Westland office of the company, where I met dozens of other young people. It turned out the work involved selling some water wares door to door. After a brief 1-hour training session, I was given a set of knives and partnered with 2 others to go to Banana Town, which, as the supervisor told us, was the new market. Mother, if there is something more difficult than selling knives, it is selling knives in Banana Town. The town was semi-urban, and set of knife we were selling was perhaps more suitable for urban, upper to middle class households. I have one knife that was handed to me by my mother, who was given by her mother. One of the women told me, waving the knife she was using to peel potatoes. Why do I need a set of 5? And what is that, a butter knife? I tried the other objection handling method we had learned. When you buy the set, you receive a watch for free. Why don't you sell me the watch and give me the set of knives for free? No, madam, it doesn't work like that. Now that I reflect on it, she had a valid point, and I was not very clever. If I had not left my newly acquired Nation identity card at the Westland Depot, I could have left the heavy bag of knives in Banana Town. Next, prompted by Chris, we experimented with wall paintings and hangings. My cousin Gishimi introduced Chris and I to a process of making curios from plaster of Paris. We used waste plastic lids as molds and poured the plastic of Paris mixture. The mixture hardened into nice round discs that we could then paint with catchy motivational messages and Bible quotes. This sold well, but instead of reinvesting the income, we spent it. With our attention divided between sales and playing pool, the business suffered. I found more stability as a private tutor for our landlady, Mama Sylvia's young daughter. For some reason, she had taken a liking to us and would allow a few weeks delays in rent payment, which worked well for me because I got another opportunity to invest in betting. Apart from tutoring her daughter, she allowed me to learn computing on the personal computer she had in her sitting room. I took this opportunity to learn how to type professionally using the TypeTat program. A few months later, when the small computer college opened at her premises, she sponsored me for a class in Microsoft programs. My ability to type fast became a huge asset. Our next door neighbors were the Mudolas. I first made friends with Dan, then with his brother Douglas. Their sister Dorothy and Anne joined them later. They are extremely talented artists, and I still remember their hyper-realistic painting of Bill Clinton that was so good that they refused to sell it, no matter the offer they received. During the Christmas season, I accompanied them to Nairobi CBD, where we would go door to door asking shop owners for a chance to decorate their shop fronts. Sometimes we were lucky to meet a generous shop owner who would not drive hard bargains. Other times, we dealt with owners who were so unkind that they would let us finish decorating and then tell us they did not have money, or offered us peanuts. Some even told us either accept what they are offering or wipe off the paintings. At such times, we felt powerless. Caris was now working at the Southern Fried Chicken, one of the new fast food restaurants in town. One day, someone traced him to his workplace and told him that I had been admitted to Kenyatta University. A few days later, he brought home a letter of admission bearing the university's letterhead. I was not at all excited. I was already earning enough stripes as a pool player of note, and I had decided not to further my studies. In fact, on the day the letter came, I had just won a game and brought a t-shirt with Rough Rider, my favorite hip-hop music group, emblazoned on it. I told Caris I did not want to continue with my studies. However, he was not one to give up easily. He made several trips to the university and came back each day with glowing stories about how impressive and grand it was. I gave him many excuses for not wanting to go. First, why would I want to pursue a bachelor's degree in education? That would mean becoming a teacher, a career I had not interest in. Another reason I did not want to go to the university was knowing that it would be another struggle to pay fees. I did not tell him this out loud because he would have fought tooth and nail like you did to get the fees. One Friday, Caris told me that he had been to the university to get more information, and that he had made friends with a student there who had agreed to host me for a weekend. If by Monday you do not like the university, just come back, Caris told me. I decided to go, if only to get him off my back. When I went to Kenyatta University and was directed to the hostel, I immediately knew that I did not need to wait until Monday. I hated it. It was huge. Everyone was hurrying about looking so unfriendly. It looked too academic and hot. My host was a friendly man who did the best he could in the circumstances to improve my life. He even provided me with salt to use as toothpaste. I woke up determined to find a telephone booth where I could call Caris and tell him that this education was not the right path for me. However, I took a wrong turn and got lost. Once again, among the multitude of buildings, I entered one building, and to my surprise, there were more than 30 pool tables with students milling around them. When I spoke to Caris, it was to inform him that I was okay. I have decided to register. It was in heaven. I was in heaven. Your loving son, Kombani. We can right away start discussing character traits. I like starting with Kombani because it's the major character. You can see it's quite loving, dear mama, and your loving son, Kombani. All right. Then you can also see that he was pessimistic at some point. When the mother died, he says something died inside him. He even said he did not have to work hard anymore. Why? Then he says that when he was sitting for the exams, he was actually seeing everything blur. And even when he was given forms to fill for the university entry, he just did it to fill the space, but he was not focused towards anything. At some point, once he gets into gaming, he does not want to do anything for life, but he indulges into it, overindulges in fact. In selling knives, he becomes very pessimistic to a level that he wants to dump the knives at a banana market. Then we also see that when the brother comes with the letter of admission, he was not excited. After all, he thinks he's earning, so he doesn't want to further his studies anymore. And when he reaches the university, when the brother has sought for someone where he can stay a little bit, he says he knew very well that he could not further his studies. We can also say that he was hardworking. We see that even at school, regardless of not having come back focused, he still excels and gets to university. When we check on page 44, we can see how he strives to sell the knives and manages. At the pool, he really worked round the clock. When he was taught how to do computing, he really went through very well, even painting itself. And finally, while at the university, he works through to find what he prefers. We can see he's decisive. He had a decision not to go for teaching totally. At this point, he said he didn't want to pursue a degree in education, and that's why he didn't want to focus on it. When we look around page 42, we realize that he was optimistic, or rather intelligent at some point. At the beginning of his study, we actually see him doing a lot. He had a focus to become a doctor so that he can save the family from poverty. He worked and performed very well always as something to allow him to secure a job. We see that once he performs in the exams, he excels, and actually, even though it was a hard time, he receives a letter to the university, Kenyatta University. We also see that while at the pool, he learns very fast how to play pool and masters it. We also realize that he learns painting very fast from Gishimo, and then he learns computing very fast on page 46 from the computer the landlord gave him. He also does learn from the talented Mudolas more painting skills. We realize that his point we can say is unreasonable. He could even gamble with the rent as a process of investing when he knows that betting is a chance thing. It's not obvious that you'll win, okay? Then when he rejects totally to go to university, yet they are still poor and he's struggling with gambling, that tells us he's a bit unreasonable. We can also see at some point that he's very critical. You see how he's looking at the family and looking at the need for him to further study so he can improve the family. He also looks at the statement by Shosho very critically. He thinks that that statement was not worth for a 17-year-old boy. Looking at pool playing, he also critically looks at how it is happening, and the university itself as a very hot place just once he looks at it on one day. I think those are the characters for Kombani. The mother was persevering and also focused. He made it to pay educational fee for all these children, regardless of being a single mother who was struggling. We can also see that Caris was very accommodative and supportive, because he's the one who kept encouraging Kombani to actually go to the university. He even looks for someone where he can go check at the university before he decides whether to enroll or not. And he tells him if he doesn't like it, he can come back. And again, the brother tells us that he would struggle just like the mother to provide school fees. When we look at the landlord was understanding and I think was very generous. The landlady was able to allow them 4 weeks delay in rent payment, and we can also see her paying or sponsoring the Microsoft program classes for Kombani rather. I think those are the characters. Unless I've left anyone, you can add. Now let's get to the thematic concerns. When we come at thematic concerns, we have the theme of love. Of course, you've seen me talking about Kombani loving the mother, the brothers loving each other and staying very friendly, Mudolas loving Kombani, landlady having a liking towards Kombani and his brothers. Then we can have the theme of education. We really see the mother struggling to ensure that each child received decent education. Kombani tells us that at the end, Sami had not achieved in education as much. And we had Chris who was barely returning to school. We also see that Kombani is sitting for exams just after the mother dies and excels, gets an admission letter to Kenyatta University and has to go to survey how the university is and get admitted. So that is education. We also see technology because, like, tell me about this computer thing. The computer process is actually technology in this text. Now, we can look at the aspect of family coexistence. I believe that for Sami, T.A., Karis, and Kombani to live together in Gando, it was much of coexistence. We also see that the grandmother is taking care of the grandchildren after the mother is dead. That is also coexistence. And we can get to another theme. Another theme would be determination. The mother of Kombani was determined. That's why she was ensuring that the children get education. We can also see that at some point, Kombani was determined about pool gaming and became the professional in it. And this gambling actually made him so determined to make sure he gets some other jobs to sustain it. Now, Karis is so very determined to have the brother get a university education. We see pessimism, especially after the death of the mother. Kombani tells us on page 42 that he was quite discouraged and he was angry, so he didn't want anything to do with the furthering his studies or focusing in life. We also see the aspect of pessimism where he's telling us that he didn't see the need to actually get to study so much, because what was it for? He even says that during the exam time, he didn't know what he was doing. When the letter comes, he is not excited at all because he thinks he's earning from pool playing. On page 47, he is also unexcited about going to the university. He even rejects it. Now, we have the theme of change. We can see a lot of change after the death of the mother to Kombani. Kombani changes from an optimistic and focused person to a pessimistic and less focused individual. He even doesn't want to have anything to do with a better education. We also see that Kombani stops going to Njoro and now joins the cool kids, Nairobi children over the holidays. We see that after studies, this boy, actually they ban all the books because he thought he was done with education. Then we see a transformation from a person who was just free to a prisoner of gaming. Then he finally gets to some sales and marketing and tutoring, and then to painting, and finally to the university, right? That's a lot of change. We can also talk about the theme of, I believe that is addiction in gambling. It's a common thing currently, so I feel it is there. When we look at page 44, we realize that Kombani is quite addicted. He's now taking rent and investing in gambling. You know, he even loses it and still gets to rescue it. He squeezes budget, saves and plays pool. He even tries to acquire a job where they are paying 4,000 a week in sales and marketing just to go back and play pool. They were also doing painting and getting a good pay. Instead of investing elsewhere, they were using the money to play pool. When he got to do the tutoring and also computer tasks, all he did was to go back to gambling. The refusal to go to university was because Kombani felt like he was earning from gambling already, or pool playing, and that while at the university, the only thing that made him feel like he should now enroll, it was because he saw a room with almost 30, was it 31? He said 30, more than 30 pool tables. So you can see that's a very serious addiction to gambling. Unless there is another theme I've left, guys, you will make me understand. Now we have several stylistic devices in this text. And the first one I normally start with is epistolary mode. You can see the story begins with Dear Mama and it ends with Your Loving Son, Kombani. So that is epistolary mode, a letter form. Apart from that, we can see direct address. So you can see as if Kombani is addressing the mother. When you died, you left. I was angry, you had struggled. Mother, you did not finish the race. and then you died. You see, all through this, there is direct address of the mother. Then apart from that specific one, the Shosho's words are also direct address. Everything is over. Let us now start the preparation. That's the direct address. And I saw another direct address when Karis was talking to the brother. When Kombani was talking to the brother, I have decided to register. And when Karis is talking to the brother, if by Monday you do not like the university, just come back, Karis told me. So that is direct address. There is dialogue on page 45 between the woman who doesn't want to buy knives at Banana Town and Kombani who is selling them. I have one knife that was handed to me by my mother, who was given by her mother. Why do I need a set of 5? Kombani says, when you buy a set, you receive a watch for free. Why don't you sell me the watch and give me the set of knives for free? No, madam, it doesn't work like that, you see. So that is dialogue. There is use of poster, actually style that is not common in high school, but I've seen it because I've studied autobiography at another level, and 4,000 a week. No experience necessary, right? Now let's get to another one, local dialect. Maundu monde ni madhiru riutu haririe ohoro. That is direct, that is the local dialect. Also the word shosho is a Kikuyu word, okay? Yeah. Then the word I have won the good fight. I have won the good fight. I have finished the race. It is biblical allusion. I believe for those of you who have interacted with the Bible, those words are from the Bible. We have idiomatic expression, silver lining, the only silver lining. And I think I saw another one when we were almost finishing the text. Let me see. We have fought tooth and nail. That's another idiomatic expression. When we come to imagery, I can see a simile here. I felt like an automation. That is an idiomatic simile. Then we have a rhetorical question. I was pretty sure I was not going to pursue any further schooling after high school. What for? What for? That part. The other rhetorical question comes here where Kombani says, firstly, why would I want to pursue a bachelor's degree in education? That's on page 47, right? Yeah, so those are rhetorical questions. Now we can come back to irony. I feel there is a lot of irony in this part of the entry. The first irony is that all his life, Kombani has been working hard to secure a better career that will save the family from poverty. Yet when the mother dies, we have other family members who are remaining. He does not want to focus anymore. He does not even want to go for the bachelor's of education, which is called for. Then we can also see another irony whereby Kombani doesn't sign the university papers seriously because he thinks there's nothing he can achieve. Yet when the results come, he has made it. Kombani also burns the books with the rest of the students, believing that education is over, yet his education furthers. Kombani believes that pool playing is the best thing he has ever got, and he doesn't think he can leave Gando for education. Yet, after seeing the 30 pool tables in the university, one of the building, he decides to register. We also see that the mother has always wanted the children to focus in academics, and Kombani used to work so hard to make sure that he did well. Yet, on the death of the mother, he doesn't see any need to focus anymore. It is also ironical that Kombani would actually bet rent money. Seriously, and I don't think I can ever do such a thing, even if betting is interesting, you know. So that is on irony. I think there is a juxtaposition of Karis and Kombani. Karis, who has dropped school, is focused more in life than Kombani. All right? Yeah. Then also juxtaposition of university and Gando. University had very serious people who are focused. very academic and looked unfriendly. Gando was just with people spending time in the pool play, and the whole day, Yeah, so guys, I think I can also share a reflection here. The key reflection is the effect of the death of the mother on Kombani and the final admission to the university, as well as the pool playing addiction. Otherwise, thank you guys and bye-bye. Let's meet in another reading. Love you so much.